Welcome to the Sacred Success Summit, where you access the secrets to sacred success and become even more of the goddess you've always known you were. Ranchelle Van Bryce is a dynamic force dedicated to helping women live their purpose and manifest success in all life facets, from professional achievements to creating a new relationship with their business. As a business intuitive, sacred commerce coach, author, and host of a podcast TV show, she excels in illuminating each woman's unique potential. Co-creator of this summit, Ranchelle is eager to introduce another inspirational guest. Take it away, Ranchelle.
I am always eager to introduce new guests. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I have the pleasure of introducing Brooke. Now, Brooke has been in our summits before, and so it's always for me such a great opportunity when we have our speakers come back, right, and just kind of watch everything unfold. And so Brooke is a trauma healing coach, rapid transformational therapist, and NLP practitioner, specializes in empowering survivors to rewrite their stories. Her personal journey, marked by overcoming indoctrination, abuse, and toxic bonds, fuels her profound insight and unwavering dedication. A sought-after speaker, soon-to-be author, yay, and staunch advocate against religious abuse and domestic violence. Wow. Brooke's voice extends beyond her coaching practice. With Brooke as your ally, embark on a transformative healing journey armed with potent tools, nurturing guidance, and profound revelations. Step into an authentic existence, fostering soul-aligned relationships that embrace your true self. Awesome. Christopher says in the chat, bring it on, sister. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, we love to start our time together by having you share your story about where were you and how did you get to this place and space of your purpose?
For sure. I would love to share a little bit about that. I was not knowing what safety really felt like in my body. And that's really why I want to speak about what I'm speaking about today. And that is the nervous system, right? Because I was raised within a cult that was very fear-based and shame-based. And I had an abusive father that I then recreated that same experience with an abusive partner for 17 years. And I stayed in that marriage because I didn't know anything different. So I had never experienced what safety was meant to feel like within my body and what I could experience actually if I wanted to be able to explore the world a little bit more, because I was so confined. I lived within that system and I didn't know anything outside of that system. So that really made me, go on this journey after I decided to leave the marriage and leave the cult of who am I? What do I want to do? And who am I meant to be in this lifetime? And that is when I began my healing journey and really starting to see how deeply traumatized I really was, that my body and my whole entire system was living within fear. And so it is why I feel so passionate about helping people understand that the connection to safety and the connection to our nervous system and to our body is going to empower you to be able to actually do what you came to do here in this life.
Yeah. And I think we are, even in body awareness, there's still an opportunity for us to explore that we still might be disconnected and not even know about it. And so, one of the things that we're asking everyone to do is to, share what we're referring to. Everyone, if you're just joining us now, is we're talking about ensuring that our speakers bring paradigm shifts, which are a little bit different than just points and tools, which are important. And so, Brooke, let's have you share your first paradigm shift with the group, please.
I would love to. So my first one is to turn down your stress response and turn up your yes response, which means that in order to create a life that you really desire and to actually go after your goals and to actually achieve them, We really need to turn down our natural trauma response, our stress response to life, so that we can, instead of just react to life, we can actually respond to life. So this is meaning that, we have this beautiful human intelligence, right? This nervous system that really it's designed to keep us safe. It's designed to see what's going on and bring in cues of threat or safety, right? And when we can turn down that response, especially for someone that has lived traumatic events, or someone that has just really lived in a high stress environment, right? Our bodies can be stuck in this fight or flight or this freeze response, and we may not even be aware of it. So it's about one, connecting to our body, and so that we can turn up that yes response to what we actually want to bring in. So that might mean that we need to reframe our goals, right? Because this matters how we frame them. Because if our body feels like it's not safe to move forward, this seems too daunting, this seems to be like it's too much, it might shut us off from what we are actually, what our yes feels like, where our soul may be calling us, or where our heart is feeling led.
Yeah. And so, when we talked about this, not knowing. So what would be signs if I didn't know, if I was in fight, flight, or freeze, let's say, what would be signs for the audience to kind of like, oh, I didn't realize that was an indicator of being in fight, flight, or freeze?
For sure. So I lived in flight response my whole entire life. So I feel very intimately that I know a lot about that response. And that's what I teach my clients a lot, because and that is really when you're in this space where your body does not feel safe. So it says run, flee the scene, get away, right? And so I felt that in my body constantly. I lived in a state of anxiety more than I did with anything else. And it was constantly feeling like, okay, what's next? Why do I feel this anxiety all the time? Having to try to cope with it by using really unhealthy coping mechanisms, or by using things that really had to like suppress my nervous system, right? Fight is when you are, really frustrated. There's anger, you feel defensive, your body's feeling like there's a threat, so it feels like it has to fight something off. And then freeze is when you are shut down. You are at the bottom of your ladder and you're exhausted. This is when you can get really confused. You don't know the next step. There's a lot of indecision. And it can be where you can also live in a state of depression as well. So knowing where you can oscillate between all of these responses, again, this is part of your natural response to life. And it's really helpful to understand what your dominant response is. So like mine was flight. So now I have this connection to my body where I can recognize, I know when something is bringing me back there. And I know when I'm needing to ground back into my body, to come back into that safety, to cue to my nervous system, oh, wait a second, I'm actually safe. And I can come back into this connection so that I can know my next step forward and be able to listen to my intuition.
And so what you're saying then too is if we're in fight, flight, or freeze, we may or may not know it. So there's so you talked about some indicators. And when we are in fight, flight, or freeze, we're also not as connected to our intuition. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because we're in that response. We're in that trauma response or that stress response. So what goes offline is our cognitive brain, right? It kind of turns off, dims that light switch a little bit. So we're not able to access critical thinking, rational thinking. We're just in the response of there is a threat and the body's not feeling safe. And so we're not able to make really good decisions in those moments. So sometimes, that's why I always say it's about how do we respond and then how we react, right? It's so important to know the difference, because our go-to will be to react from the space that we always have in our nervous system. So for myself, it was flight. So mine will always be like, run to the next thing, keep running to the next thing, right? Keep going on to the next task and not knowing how to slow down. And what that did was it really made me make sometimes poor decisions, right? Because maybe if I could have taken a step back and thought about it logically and rationally, I'd have been able to make a wiser decision. And again, be able to listen to that intuitiveness to be able to know the next step forward.
Right. And so like for me, when I'm listening to, I'm thinking about different scenarios that I've been in. Like with some individuals I'll go into, or some scenarios I'll go into fight. And other scenarios I'll do flight. And then yet others, it's freeze. So I don't think I'm an anomaly, but I'm going to ask that. Like, can we experience all of them in different scenarios? Or is it just one that's really more predominant?
No, we can experience all of them. We can experience all of them literally in one trigger, right? Where we can go into fight, flight, freeze, right? We can go into all of these experiences. There will always just be the dominant, right? The minute the body cues that there's something, there's a threat, there's not safety, usually there's always a dominant response. So let's say that you're having an argument with your partner, right? You feel this trigger, your partner triggers you from this response. And if your go-to is to either shut down, be quiet, right? Which means you go into freeze, or you flee, right? You get the heck out of there as fast as you can. You're like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm leaving the scene. I'm so pissed off. I'm out of here, right? Or you fight, you stand there and you try to like demand that he knows that you are in the right and he is in the wrong, right? So that's just an example of what you can do, right? And just knowing that you do this in every experience in your life when you feel this cue of unsafeness.
Right. And I was like, have you been in our living room?
Yeah, I mean, it's the natural part of life, right? But it's about being able to be so connected to your body that you can start to see when these things creep in, and you can start to let the body know, wait a second, I'm safe, and you can slow down. We live in such a rushed society, right? The majority of people on here right now are probably business owners. We're the solo person trying to make the business run, right? We're moms, we're wives, whatever that is, or husbands. Like, we're doing so much. Our nervous system is constantly in a state of like, what's next, right? And there is dysregulation. So it's about living from a daily space where you have a practice to be able to connect with that body and know where you are at.
I love that. And so not for you to give away necessarily one of the practices, like as far as like the what it actually is, but can you tell us about one of the things that you've done to help you regulate your nervous system? And then we'll go on to your second point.
For sure. So I think the biggest piece for me has been meditation. Meditation has saved my life. Obviously you heard the beginning of my story and my journey. I had extreme complex trauma and PTSD. And really what that is just echoes from your past that are coming into your present moment. And you're feeling all of these things and you're like, why do I continue to feel this way? Right. And I had to recognize that the way I could actually slow down that process and heal from that PTSD was to start to sit in stillness, which my body did not want to do. It wanted to fight, it wanted to resist. And transcendental meditation is what I found in my journey. And it's a mantra-based meditation. It helped me finally slow down those brain waves to be able to just teach my mind that it could slow down the thoughts, right? And then also to teach my body that it was safe to slow down.
Right. And so one more question, and we'll go to your second point, is as you're saying that, like I hear all the time that people say, I can't meditate because my brain won't slow down, my body won't slow down. My personal point of view is that most of us have experienced some kind of trauma throughout our life. And so what I'm connecting dots that might not be there. So I'm looking for clarification. So are you saying part of the reason why one might feel they can't meditate when they say that my body won't slow down, my brain won't slow down, that could be an indicator that there's some unreleased trauma in our body?
Absolutely. You have that spot on. It's proof that if you say that I can't do something, you better dig deeper. You better actually go and do the thing that you think you can't do, because everyone can meditate. Everybody can learn this practice. There is nobody that's exempt from it. I always tell people too, like sometimes, for others, if you can't start where you can just, kind of train your body, it's practice, right? It's like going to the gym, training your muscles. It's the same thing with meditation. You are practicing, you are training this practice to be able to sit down and be still. But maybe walking meditation you can begin with, right? Where it's just being able to kind of quiet your mind a little bit, and then you can maybe, transition. It's about starting somewhere. for yourself to just begin that process.
Beautiful. And what else would you like to share with us? So I know there's three in total that we're going to talk about. We're on number 2. Let's do that.
So I always say that in order for your nervous system to feel safe, when you are about ready to embark on new goals or you want to do something in life, well, you first kind of need to make a little bit of an action plan, right? You don't have to like be really specific and like hold yourself to it, right? There's no shame in it, but you also want to, if you're going to create things and you want to go places in life, you also need to make some steps, right? You can't just leave it up to chance and think that, okay, I'll just wait here until the universe delivers it. You got to take some action, right? And so we got to make sure that the nervous system also knows that, okay, this is safe to move forward. This feels good to me, right? And I want to also say, like, when you feel yes in your body, you feel openness, right? You feel like, yes, this feels easy. This feels like amazing. And when you feel a no in the body, it's going to feel constricting. You're going to feel like, ooh, you're going to tighten up. You're going to feel some anxiety. You're going to feel that in your heart center, right? And so what we're wanting to do is to make sure that the mind and the body connection is there to say yes to what I want to create, to say yes to what you're wanting to do. And for myself, I had a mentor tell me, a few years ago, you're going to be speaking, you're going to be doing these events, these live events. And I told her, I laughed in her face. I was like, you're crazy. You are really funny. That is not me at all. I'm never doing that ever. And then here we are, a few years later, and that's all I do. I do a lot of speaking, right? Because I've trained myself, my mind and my body to feel safe enough to do this. And that's what this is about, right? It's about creating that connection to that body and to that mind and letting it know, hey, this is safe. We can do this. It's okay, right? We can let go of judgment. We can let go of the fear that is created by being in this space.
Yeah. And that's so important is because we're naturally wired for safety and security. So when we know that, and if there's procrastination or there's self-sabotage, we can also know that that's our natural response. And the disconnection, is makes that natural response, precipitate, I think, like the procrastination, the self-sabotage. Right. So when you have this awareness and you make this connection, what you're saying is that then you say yes to things because you're connected and you can say yes. Which I think probably will leads to you sharing with us before we go to the next point. You have a gift for all participants, for general admission participants, and I believe you have a VIP gift as well. And so let's start with, all the links are being dropped, everyone. So let's start with your free gift there, and and share with the audience what that is.
So that is a journal about healing your nervous system. It is going into a little bit of explanation about, okay, how does the nervous system operate? So you can kind of, if you're not aware of that, right, and polyvagal theory and whatnot, it's helping you kind of get a little bit of knowledge about it, but also giving you some really great tools to be able to start with things that can help you heal your nervous system. So we talked about meditation was one of them. I have several other things that you can begin as a daily practice, a weekly practice, wherever it is. It's all about taking small steps towards your goals.
I love that. So for everyone in the chat, it's right in the chat right now. I actually just went and grabbed it. So I'm just like grabbing everyone's right away. It'll also be in your portal, in the membership portal. But I always just say, grab, if it's something that you want, grab it now. So by the end of the day, you can go in and enter your name. And so you can be connected with Brooke and grab her gift. Now the VIP gift, why don't you share a little bit about that?
Yes, I believe that it's an intro to RTT, which is rapid transformational therapy. Are we correct? Yeah, I couldn't see what it was, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I do rapid transformational therapy, which is a mixture of cognitive behavioral therapy, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and hypnosis. So I really help people to get to the root cause of what they're experiencing in life or what their block is, right? What is stopping you from achieving your goals? Well, let's get to the root cause. There's always a story in the subconscious mind. There's always a habit and a behavior that you're doing repeatedly that's either one, procrastinating you from reaching your goal, or also stopping you, which is self-sabotage.
Beautiful. And so for those of you who have a VIP ticket, that's part of the gift that you have. and you'll see there's a link to upgrade. So if you haven't bought a VIP ticket, they're $97 right now. And Brooke, what do you normally charge for a rapid transformational therapy session?
Usually $300.
$300, right? So for $100, you get an extra. You get Brooke's gift along with all the other gifts that we have here. So thank you so much for sharing that. There's a donate button as well, everyone. All right, let's get now to your third point. I'm so excited.
Yes. So I would say for everybody, the first piece is to know that make a plan for dealing with obstacles that come up in your journey. Because I don't know if y'all remember being a kid. I remember being a kid and loving obstacle courses, right? When we were children, well, we loved the obstacles, right? We didn't look at them as like we were going to sit down and be defeated and lay down and just not try again, right? We're like, well, how do we figure this out? We get back up and we're like, okay, well, I'm going to figure out how to get over this obstacle so I can keep going on the journey. Well, it's the same thing with recognizing that in your journey, when you're trying to achieve your goals or you're trying to create what you want to create in your life, and you're going to have obstacles. There's going to be things that come up in life where you're going to have to be curious and be able to have the stability within your body and your mind, right? With that connection to the nervous system to be able to know that you are resilient enough to get through the obstacles and to be able to conquer those. So I always say, if you already know that there's going to be obstacles, then guess what? When it happens, you're not going to allow it to stop you from moving forward.
And so that's a bit of different when people, so other people will say, don't do that. Don't think about the obstacles and that you create that. But you're saying that in the way that you show people how to do that, it actually prepares you. And I'm assuming, again, I'm making connection here. I'm assuming it's because then our nervous system can calm down because we're not going to go into fight, flight, or fear because we have a plan. So even if it doesn't go to plan, we have a plan. Is that correct?
That's right. And part of the plan is really honestly surrendering and knowing that, like, if something happens, that you don't have to think that, oh my gosh, this means I did something wrong, or this meant that I failed, right? Because we automatically go into the story when something doesn't work out the way that we wanted it to. So instead, it's more of looking at life from, okay, well, great, I have this obstacle. I can still stay safe in my body. I don't have to react to this. I get to respond to what is happening, what is going on here. And I can be curious. Okay, well, what can I do? How can I keep into my body, into my connection, and into my intuition to be able to take that next step forward? That's going to be for my best and highest good.
Yeah, beautiful. Now we are, if you can believe it, we're already like a minute. That's it. We only have a minute. So, right, crazy. Could you please share with us in this last minute, one last like part of wisdom that you could impart upon us? I love it.
Yeah, of course. So I always tell everybody that if you heal your mind, you change your life, because that is literally what happened for me. I had to start from the very beginning. I felt like I was at ground zero with no identity, nowhere to go, not knowing who I was or who I was going to be, but know that you have the ability and the power to rewrite your life, that is how powerful you are, and to just trust and believe that everything is always happening for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. We have like 30 seconds left. So I just want to remind everyone, please grab Brooke's incredible gift. Thank you so much, Brooke, for that and the VIP. And as well, please, let's donate to Haiti. What a great cause that we're doing this time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. So much appreciate. There's so much love in the chat. It's like, yay, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we can cue the music, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session on the Sacred Success Summit. For more information or to apply to be a speaker at one of our upcoming events, email our team at breakthrough@clarityconfidenceconnection.com. Now, tune in to another transformational speaker.